it's basically flat ground, Midwestern scenery, and it's a terminal railroad, which means that it doesn't have that much way freight. It's all of the work is basically just local jobs. So then the railroad expanded a little bit. There's actually 5 yards in the city itself. There's actually 5 yards. So you got Union Yard over on the far wall. You got Ice Dock Yard on the First Peninsula. Then you have Heartland Yard up here in the front table. You have Gateway Yard on this side, and then back in the corner you have Crossroads, which is basically an intersection. It's not really used as a yard, but it's an intersection track. So the concept would be is that's where all your freight's coming from, somewhere else, into Gateway Yard where all the switching's done. I also built what I call on-scene staging up here in the middle of the loop, where the trains are set up with the cabooses. That's simplistically, that's a staging yard where we run way freight all the way around the railroad through town over to Gateway Yard so that it can be classified and then sent all the way back to staging. So as far as way freight goes or classification, that's the extent of what we do as far as moving big freight over, a long ways. But keep in mind, again, the entire railroad is set up as one big city or one big town. Then we expanded again and we contracted work with the coal mine and the gravel company, which are the two biggest businesses located in the Center Peninsula. So you can think of them as a spur line or a branch line or something that takes you a little ways out of town so that, we're digging coal and we got a quarry operation. And after the guys decided that they wanted to start scenery, we built the mountain over in the corner. And the layout didn't have that corner section over there to begin with. But when all of my relatives come over, let's go look at the trains, all the kids come downstairs and we start running a train, and as soon as they came back into the layout, the kids weren't interested anymore because they're not allowed to run around and jump on the tables. So we decided we're going to make a loop. So now we got a loop through the tunnel, comes back up here, loops around the front table, and goes back through the tunnel again. So the kids can stand there and watch the train go around in a circle all day if they want. So that's where we started the scenery over there. And as you can see, we're working our way this way down this front table. When we get this finished, then we'll continue on around. And then in the meantime, I decided we want a river. So we built a river on the peninsula. Bob built us some great scratch-built hand trestle bridges there, hand-laid trestle bridges we put in, and then we did the scenery for the coal mine and the quarry over there. And the rest of it has kind of remained minimalist, so to speak, because we spend a lot of time just working the railroad, just operating. And it started out, there was a peninsula going this way, that one big peninsula going this way down the middle. Then I didn't like the yard over here. I put the yard all the way down the back. That yard was way too big. So then I split back up into 2 yards again. Then we took the peninsula out of the middle and we put 3 down this way. And that's kind of where it stayed. They threatened not to come over anymore if I changed it. Kept changing it every day. So the one thing that I think we all learned was the smaller peninsulas give you a lot more operation opportunity than one great big long, there's a lot more operation on this table and that table than there is on all of that table because it's just one long, city block, so to speak. Although you can spend all day working front table if you want to move all the traffic around. So there's a lot to do. If anybody wants to ask questions or run trains or whatever you want to do, we can go on from there. The last thing we did too was we now have power districts divided up. Up until last week, I guess, it was all one great big district. So if we had a short, the whole railroad shut down. I bought Tam Valley boosters and Tam Valley soft start equipment So we now have 4 districts set up, 4 power districts set up, and we're gonna work on the 5th one, being this yard over here. It'll eventually be isolated, this whole wall. It's hooked in with this peninsula right now, but eventually we'll get it separated out, and we wired it all up in one afternoon, turned it on, and it worked. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, because that's not supposed to happen.
No.
But
That's
We
quick.
had one small hiccup and it was
really,
found real fast.
well, we
you
don't want to
told
talk
us
about
that.
a small hiccup. I mean, I figured we'd spend weeks trying to figure out what was